Hi, everybody. So, I've decided that I am going to be deleting the most popular video on my channel. This one over here. Maybe you've seen it, I don't know. Why, you might ask? Well, the reasons I think are actually kind of fascinating, so I'm gonna go ahead and explain it, and then you can tell me what you think in the comments. Let's go ahead and get started. So hello everybody and welcome back to Grace Nerd. My name is Eric if you're new to the channel. If you like talk about Christian theology or talk about the Christian life or talk about culture from a Christian worldview, then make sure that you go ahead and subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you know when new uploads happen. Or if you discovered the podcast in audio form, then make sure that you subscribe wherever you found it. So basically in this video, I had just watched a debate between Ben Shapiro and Anna Kasparian, and I found what looked like a really explicit contradiction between something Anna Kasparian said early in the debate and something she said later in the debate. Go ahead and watch the video.
And look, it is a relevant issue when you have Terry McAuliffe, who's running for governor of Virginia, literally saying in open debate that it should not be parents who are making the educational decisions for their children. It should be the people in education. I mean, that is a culture war issue that I think is of key importance to people who have kids, right?
Well, see, I mean, I think that that's part of what leads to the lack of trust in our institutions. I mean, yes, as a parent, you get to make decisions about which school you want your kid to go to. If you're uncomfortable with the public school curriculum, you can take a look at private school options. If you don't want that, you can homeschool. Absolutely, I'm going to say something that's incredibly unpopular with this group, and that's totally fine. The best education in the world currently takes place in Finland. They have the top education model, and they have completely banned private education. I would do the same.
So if you're a conservative and you tend to see the world the way that I do, then perhaps you see here what seems to be a pretty explicit contradiction between two different things that Anna Kasparian was saying. Ben Shapiro had just mentioned a quote from Terry McAuliffe in the Virginia race at the time.
That it should not be parents who are making the educational decisions for their children. It should be the people in education. I mean, that is a culture war issue that I think is of key importance to people who have kids, right?
And it turned out to likely be a quote that ended his chances at winning that race, where he said that it should not be parents who make educational decisions for their children.
I don't think parents should be telling schools what they should teach.
Now, up to this point in the debate, the tone had been pretty conciliatory. Anna Kasparian seemed to be granting certain points, but then giving her point of view in response. And it seems like that's what's happening again here. She grants that this quote from Terry McAuliffe was the reason that parents were losing their faith in institutions. And therefore, she cites private school choices or homeschooling as possible solutions to assuage fears like the ones that Ben Shapiro is talking about.
Well, see, I mean, I think that that's part of what leads to the lack of trust in our institutions. I mean, yes, as a parent, you get to make decisions about which school you want your kid to go to if you're uncomfortable with the public school curriculum.
But then after this clip, she goes on and does defend public schools. And then in the final clip, she straight up says that she wants to ban private education like they have in Finland.
They have completely banned private education. I would do the same.
And so, yeah, it kind of looked like a pretty obvious contradiction. First, she seems to somewhat reluctantly grant that there should be freedom to choose school options for parents, but then she says she would ban those choices. So yeah, it seems like a contradiction. And about, I would say, 80% of viewers of this video saw this clip the way that I did. But then there were people who were clearly fans of the Young Turks and Anna Kasparian who jumped into the comments and said, no, there is no contradiction here. And to be honest, I think a lot of those people were being argumentative and they saw these clips the way that I did, and they were basically just being willfully blind to the point that I was trying to make with the meme. But it wasn't until last night that someone made a comment that I'll read to you where they actually gave a different interpretation of what she was saying here. During one of the back and forths in the comments, I basically tried to paraphrase what Anna Kasparian said so that I could point out what the obvious contradiction was. And I said, paraphrase of first clip, yes, I see that parents have lost faith in public institutions. So a good thing private options like private schools and homeschooling are still a thing. That should assuage your fears, Ben. And then in clip 2, she says, I would ban private education. So there's your contradiction. But then somebody else responded to this and said this. You took it out of context and paraphrased the first comment wrongly. I think that is part of what leads to losing faith in public institutions. Parents can homeschool or put their kids in private schools. Currently, the parents have choice to just take their kids out of public schools, so there is less pressure on public schools developing and getting better at education. That is what she is saying in the first clip, and it is in line with the second clip. Maybe you should ask the private school you attended for your money back. Now, I was homeschooled, so, I can't really apply that last insult very well, unfortunately. But that aside, this is actually the first time that I heard something of a somewhat plausible interpretation of what Anna Kasparian said that makes these two clips consistent with each other. And so as you can see, or maybe you can't quite see it, the real question here is, what does Anna Kasparian mean when she says,
well, see, I think that that's part of what leads to the lack of trust in our institutions.
That is why people are losing faith in public institutions. So there's two options here. She is responding to what Ben Shapiro just said and the quote he just quoted from Terry McAuliffe, and she's saying, yes, that quote and ones like it are the reason that people are losing faith in public institutions. And therefore, her citing of private school options is simply a way of being conciliatory before she makes her counterpoint. But now here's a second option as to what she's saying. And it might be a reason why some of the left-wing commenters were saying they saw no contradiction. It could be that she's responding not exactly to what Ben Shapiro had just said in quoting Terry McAuliffe, but she's actually responding to his well-known support of school choice and private school options, even though he had not quite mentioned that yet. She was responding to him and saying, actually, school choice and parents trying to control what is taught in public schools, that is what is creating lack of trust in public institutions. And therefore, she's actually being consistent with the second clip saying, yes, she would ban this option. Now, regardless of how you feel about this, obviously, if you're conservative and you view education the way I do, and if you view parental rights the way I do, and you support school choice and educational choices, then you're obviously going to disagree with Anna Kasparian's overall views on this topic. But that's beside the point. If, in fact, this second interpretation is true, then she's not being inconsistent with herself. And so, in summary, because, yeah, I kind of see that there's two different interpretations to this, I don't think it's worth keeping this meme up on my channel. Now, maybe you disagree, and I'd love to hear your comments on this in the comments section. Maybe you're conservative and you think that this second interpretation is ridiculous. Of course she was contradicting herself. Maybe you're right. I don't know. Or maybe you're watching and you're more left-wing and you agree with Anna Kasparian and you saw the second interpretation is perfectly obvious. And so this ultimately is why I'm making this video. I find this absolutely fascinating that a clip like this can almost be like a Rorschach test. You see what you want to see, possibly based on your political bias. So there you have it. I'd, again, love to hear your thoughts in the comments section. Again, like I said, this is actually the most popular video on my channel at this point. When I first uploaded it, it got about 1,000 views, but just recently I uploaded a video reviewing Matt Walsh's new documentary, What is a Woman? And I think because of the way the algorithm works, people discovered that video, and because they were searching videos related to the Daily Wire, this other popular video of mine started getting promoted again. And so it jumped from over 1,000 views to like right at this point, it's at about 3,500 views. So sure, it's my most popular video, but as you can see, it's a short clip. It's not by any means my best video. So I'm kind of sad to let it go because it gives exposure to my channel, but I also want my channel to be a consistent place where I give honest discussion and I don't accidentally make dishonest statements. Again, I can't conclusively say that this video was dishonest, but because there is now so much ambiguity, I figured I'd go ahead and take it down and upload this video so that we could talk about it. So anyways, if you enjoyed this video, then again, comment below, let me know what you think, and go ahead and leave a like. If you enjoy, again, content of this kind, then make sure that you go ahead and subscribe and hit the notification bell. Or again, if you're listening in audio form, make sure that you subscribe to the podcast on whatever platform you found it. So my name is Eric, this is Grace Nerd, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next one. Talk to you later.